and welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Today's guests are possibly the cheekiest, the funniest, the most loveliest couple I think I've ever met. And they are cheeky because if you're ever in a social situation with them, they will absolutely be the first ones to give you a shot. I know this. Tom definitely knows this because I have had to make sure he gets into a car on many occasions. They are also exceptional dancers and you will know them from Strictly Come Dancing. It is Janette and Aljaž, mum and dad to Lyra.
Lyra. What an intro, by the way.
That was amazing.
I'll take that.
How are you both?
Great.
Tired.
Sleepy.
Yeah,
Sleepy.
Sleepy.
a little bit.
You're almost 9 months in now.
Yeah,
By the time this
almost
goes out,
9.
9 months.
And she had 8 months sleep regression a couple weeks ago where it was just, bless her, every hour on the clock.
No.
She was up crying and crying and crying. And I don't think I'm strong enough yet to do that whole 50-minute interval where you let them cry and come back. I don't know. I'm not ready for that.
I feel like when it's a sleep regression, it's almost... Some people will disagree with me. It's almost worse than when they're newborns. Because when they're newborns, you kind of feel like you expect that. You expect that they're going to be up all the time. They don't know night from day. And you get complacent with the fact that everyone's sleeping eventually.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes...
Well, because she had a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a routine going. And we were like, oh, wow, we're seeing the light at the end of the day. We're getting more hours than normal. And then, wham, the 8 month sleep regression. I think that's why it's harder because you fall into a little routine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that hits you and you're back to kind of what feels like square one.
Yeah.
And then teeth. I feel like when they're at the beginning, when they can't sleep, you know how to soothe them. You just give them some love, you give them a little cuddle, and then they fall back asleep. But when teeth start coming out, there's nothing really you can do apart from those incredible gels from Boots and
and all the Nelson's powders and things like that. Apparently, and this could be totally made up facts that I'm going to pass on, apparently the pain from teething is so bad, and that is why we don't remember those first 2 years.
No.
That first chunk of time,
I mean, I believe that because I have been lucky with my teeth, and that's so painful.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think it's one of the worst pains you can go through. I mean, I'm sure so many people go through that. But for babies, when you don't know yourself how to fix it, what they must be so
And she's
bad.
got at the moment, bless her, she's got her 2 bottom teeth. They're fully out. But she's got 4. Her 4 top ones are starting to come through. The 2 in the middle are really popping through. But you could see the other 2 on the sides as well. She's got 4 teeth, bless her, coming out. So she has sleep regression. She's teething.
And also what the other teeth are doing, where they're moving around, they might not be cutting through, but they'll definitely be doing something.
Yeah.
By the speed it's going right now with the teeth, I'm already eyeing sort of the commercials for some toothpaste and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
And then the weaning as well.
Yeah,
trying
there's
different
so
foods. Where
much
oh my
going
God.
on.
It's all happening. It's all happening.
It's a fun time.
Yeah.
And especially I think when they get teeth, like the little snack that she was having earlier, when you can hear the crunch. That's a really exciting thing.
No, it was when she bit Aljaž the other day. She bit Aljaž in the arm and he went, ah! And he's like, look at her little teeth, Mike. You could see the little bite. It was so cute. The tiniest little bite on his arm.
I can remember being sat somewhere. I think I had a similar aged baby to someone. I think it was Max, the 3rd time round. And they were talking about their baby and that they'd got teeth. And I was like, oh, mine? He hasn't got teeth yet. And then looking, he had 2.
Oh.
They just cut through. But I hadn't been looking.
But
so
Lyra's came out quite quick, I think. She was
Weirdly,
like 4 months and they started to come
yeah.
out. And then by the end of her 5th month, she had her 2 teeth.
Because when you have babies, you start then looking at all the other babies. So they're already standing up a little bit. We're taking her swimming now.
Are you?
All I do is, because I haven't jumped in yet, I haven't found the courage yet. I do know how to swim, but not for the baby class yet. I feel like I
What
need
is
to
it
get
about
better.
the baby class that you're worried about?
I don't know what it is. Honestly, I feel a bit nervous going in.
Really?
And I know it's nothing. They're not doing breaststroke or they're not doing anything crazy. But I just really enjoy watching Janette doing it with Lyra. But I do watch all the other babies. Oh, they have teeth. Mm-hmm. they're very good.
And look at all that hair. Look at the way she kicks. Look at that point.
We can work on the hair now.
And Lyra, she's the loudest baby in her swimming class. I think
Really?
she loves kids. She loves being around kids. She loves hearing kids talk and laughing. So the first swimming lesson, she walked in, she saw the water, but she was much more excited about seeing, I think it's Finley or Monty, I can't remember the little boy's name, but she's looked over and she's like, hi! You could just see the joy, like threw her arms up and started screaming. She was so happy to be around other kids.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Are you doing any other clubs?
Not at the moment. We start baby ballet soon.
Baby ballet is next, yeah.
What happens in baby ballet? Good toes, naughty toes. I'm guessing lots of
I
that.
don't know yet. Well, we'll find out. I've never been.
Do you think they're going to feel the pressure having Janette Manrara turn up?
I would if you walked in.
Imagine I just start to, sorry, can I take over? You're doing that completely wrong.
Someone that has no background in ballet at all, but just like, I can do baby level, it's fine. And then you're there. Oh, no.
But I'm excited to take her. Because you never know. I mean, she's only 9 months old. So we'll see what she gets into. At the moment, she likes the swimming a lot.
Oh, God, you're always going to have the whole, is she going to be a dancer thing? You know, we've had it with music and whatever else. And
What do you say? What do you say?
Well, I don't know. They are who they are.
They are who they are.
And also, I do think it's something you can't force. Like, you know how much it takes to do what you do. That isn't something that can be forced upon you. You know, one of our kids loves walking around with the guitar around his neck. You know, he loves that. That is something that he has a passion for. You can't grow passion in other people.
No, you can't do that, no.
Very true.
And
Very
you have
true.
to love what you do to be dancers.
Yeah,
it's a tough
exactly.
career, you know. Anything in the arts really is, it's tough. You have to really love it to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's like not just arts. I think it's like everything, period. If you want to be good at something, it takes a lifetime to get good at it. And if you don't work on it every single day, like especially if you're not passionate, that must be such a tough time to go through. Imagine going to do something like dancing, which is so physical and, you know, cardio, and you don't like it. That must be difficult. I'm never gonna know. So.
You just said that if I do the Christmas special at some point, you want to know when?
Yeah.
And we're going to do it together.
Give me a couple of months.
A couple of months. You reckon you could get show fit? Couple of months.
Give me when school starts in September.
Yeah.
That's me fine. Yeah. A little Barry's boot camp and a couple others, those online classes I can do, and I can be fine. Yeah.
I think you guys would be amazing.
I think so.
I think you'd be amazing.
I know so. Let's be honest.
I can't have favourites as the It Takes Two host, but I'm campaigning for it. I should think you do it. Yeah.
Something like that means we'll definitely never do it. They will never go, that's a good idea, because everyone would have thought about it.
It's not fair.
Yeah, there's no shock factor. Yeah. Let's go back to your childhoods, because you both grew up in different countries, so you're going to have had different childhoods and different upbringings.
Completely different. And our families, now that we're parents, we see how different they are.
Really?
Even just the grandparents.
Yeah. And obviously the fact that the upbringings that you've had will kind of have some sort of say or implication on what kind of parent you are. Do you know what I mean?
I think so, because I grew up, my mom was very, very young. My mom and dad were both very, very young when I was born. They were both 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they immigrated over from Cuba just a couple of years before that. So they were in a country that they didn't know, they didn't speak the language, and then all of a sudden, they don't even know who they are. Nonetheless, become parents. So I was like the toy. My mom loved just dressing me up and putting me in cute bows and dresses, and I was like the family, what you call the family mascot. Oh, she's the American in the family. So I was the first one born in the US. So they were all like, yes, we made it, from the land of the free. But yeah, our household was just, there were no rules. It was a bit of just a hot mess and a great mess.
Really?
Just fun.
Yeah.
And even though we didn't have a lot financially, we had a plethora of parties and food and Disney, as you know, my massive obsession. So we didn't have much to go away to many places. So growing up as a kid, dreaming and Disney and the cartoons, that was my childhood.
Yeah. Did you have siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother, Alejandro.
Of course.
Alejandro. And then I have a younger sister named Leslie.
Oh, what's the age differences?
Massive. My brother and I are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
But my sister and I were 13 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and growing up, it was weird because, I was kind of more hands-on. I helped raise her a lot, really, to help my mom and everything. But then now as adults, she's like one of my best friends. Well, they both are. I have a very, very, very tight-knit family. Like we have a WhatsApp group, Familia. That's the name of the WhatsApp group. group. But yeah.
Are you allowed in the WhatsApp group now?
No.
No.
Wow.
I haven't got the invite yet. I've been waiting every day.
That's
but
really harsh.
nothing.
actually.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to figure out the password for the last 3 months now.
Don't. They're all talking about you. It's not good to see it.
Mine was completely opposite. We have a very small family. I mean, I remember first time going to Miami to meet Janette's family, and I couldn't understand how there can be 40 people with the same last name sitting at a table. When my family at home was the opposite. I mean, it was a very small, it's just my little sister and I. I have a little sister. Her name is Lyra. She's 2.5 years younger, so a very similar age. And then my mom and dad, they were both very hardworking people and, just a normal, really hardworking family. And the only sort of special thing about it, if you wish, is that I think that we're very, very close still now.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things still to date is that I'm the only one that left.
Yeah.
And I miss them massively. I'm actually going to see them in a couple of weeks. They're going to come over because my little sister has now 2 little girls as well.
Oh.
And I love that they love Lyra to bits and they really look after her. But I do miss home. It's a small little country, Slovenia.
Yeah.
And, no big cities. So you have these tight-knit communities, small families. And that's why when we moved to UK, we were kind of finding a place like that. I was at least, without telling Janette. And we found something up north that it's a very small community.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit more like home. Because I'm starting to miss it more and more, especially after becoming a dad. I feel like it's that feeling of like that little sort of bubble you can create.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I remember growing up having woods, a couple of steps from our house was special. Being a kid, growing up outside, and so that's why I think like moving up north. I hope that Lyra is gonna get exactly the same.
Yeah.
But Aljaž started dancing when he was 3.
No.
Yeah.
So he's been going around Europe since a very young age, competing and things like that. So it was just, you had a much more like kind of scheduled childhood because of his competition and dance lessons.
Yeah.
I didn't start that part of my life till much later.
How old were you when you started dancing?
I was 12 when I started musical theater.
Right.
And working in television since I was 12. But that's why I think also you have such a good work ethic. You know, because since a little boy, he signed himself up. His mother told me the story. He's too embarrassed to tell the story. He signed himself up to dancing when he was 3 years old. They put the boys or the girls in different things, and he went to the dancing. And then at 5 years old, they called his mother and said, "Your son's quite good at dancing. He should take it seriously." She's like, "I didn't know he was dancing." But yeah, I think that does change, like when you've cut that responsibility so young.
Yeah.
I mean, the real story is why I started was because all the boys went to play with the ball, football, basketball, and all the girls went into dancing. So
Just follow the girl.
someone has to take it. Someone has to be that guy, that just, takes the short straw. But that was me, and I'm still doing it for the same reason.
He found the girl though, I hope.
Yeah.
That part of it's fine. I mean, it's really interesting that you both come from really close-knit families, but you have careers that have taken you away from that. And that must have been really hard to rehome yourselves in the UK. Where were you before? Where did you meet?
We actually, funny enough, we met in London in 2010. Was it 2011 or 2010? Yeah. We were auditioning. I was auditioning for a show called Burn the Floor, who was at the time here in West End. Janette was already a part of it. And then it took about a year for us to get on tour together. And then we traveled the world for 3.5 years, which was one of the best times of our
dating.
lives.
Really?
Yeah. We dated across the world.
It was brilliant. It was the easiest thing for a guy that it's in a new relationship to find a lovely spot for a date.
Yeah.
Because you go to so many cool places. Let's go to China tomorrow for the third date. Why not South Africa on Friday? So we did that for a long time. And then we came back to UK and back to West End. And that's when we kind of got in front of the Strictly producers. And that's how we got the job. But that's how the whole thing started. And I feel like I was 19 when I left home for Burn the Floor. At the time, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like, obviously, you do get homesick because that's all you know, being at home. But after a little while, as a teenager, it's absolutely fine. You can get by with living in Australia for 6 months. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There was not many tears at the time. But I feel like I said before, now it's becoming a little bit, when you start a family, that's when you start going, it would be nice to have grandma's clothes or grandpa's clothes. That's the thing I miss the most.
Does it
now.
also make you look back at that time and go, gosh, what must have that been like for my mum and dad?
Don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Really?
I actually never want to know. I mean, it's so scary when you say that, because right now all we know is just being with Lyra all day, every day. I can't even fathom of thinking like, I'm gonna...
And with my parents as well, they were so young.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a slightly older mother. I was 39 when I gave birth to Lyra, 40 now. And I feel like I've got my head on my shoulders now, finally. I feel like I just lost, I left Peter Pan and now I'm kind of an adult, you know? And I'm thinking at 18, 19 years old to become parents when you're just learning who you are. And then in their case, in a brand new country as well. I mean, I have a huge, they always say that when you become a parent, you have a different kind of newfound respect for your own mom and dad. And I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Can you remember when you first started talking about whether you would have a family? Whether actually, first of all, individually, did you ever look to your future and go, at some point I want to be a dad, or at some point I want to be a mum? Was that ever part of your...
Well, literally the first date that we had, the first thing Aljaž said basically was, I can't wait to be a dad. Like, that was like on day one in the conversation.
That wasn't even a hint, I just said it.
And I had a very different story, if I'm honest. I actually sat my mother down and said to her, Mom, I don't think I'm going to be a mom. I was so career driven and I really wanted to travel the world and see different places. And I grew up in a house that had so much life in it because we lived with my grandparents and my grandmother was like, our house was like the hub of all my cousins and aunts and uncles. So there was always somebody over. There was lots of noise and good noise, but lots of noise. And my brother and my sister and I shared a room. Mind you, I was still 13 years older than her. We shared a room till I was 18.
Right.
So I feel like when I left home as Aljaž, I was really excited to kind of just be me and experience the world and see where my career would take me.
And the freedom that comes with that.
And the freedom that comes with that, exactly. So I was always a bit more with my foot on the brake, going, I don't know if this is for me, because I still wanted to do me so much.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit like I might be too selfish to be a mom in a way, because I wanted to see so many things and be so many places. But, you know, I met Aljaž, and in the beginning I was still like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, how did you feel then when on the first date Aljaž was like, I want kids?
I was just
I couldn't get
hang
rid
on.
of her. Giovanna, I couldn't get rid of her. I was really it took forever. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Still now. Even on the way in, I was like, just give me a second.
Get off me.
Yeah. Sarcasm, you see? Sarcasm. But, you know, I remember just thinking, I'm Janette. But no, it didn't scare me, but it wasn't a conversation that I thought I needed to give an answer to at that point in time anyway.
Obviously, doing your jobs, like it's such a physical thing. You can't be on the Strictly floor pregnant. That's just not going to happen. And actually, I guess going on to Burn the Floor and then Strictly, that is such a massive, what I imagine is a career highlight, and it's something that you work towards. So therefore, to kind of factor in
motherhood and parents, and so it was always a big decision the day that we would have done that. But I always had my foot on the brake because I love dancing and I love performing and I love being on stage, and the job that we had literally takes us here, there and everywhere. We're all across the country and sometimes all across the world, really. So it was a big decision, but luckily I think I chose that I did want to be a mother and I did want to have a child because I found the right person to do that with. You know, there's some women that are born wanting to be mothers no matter what. For me, it stemmed from, I think I do want to be a mother, but it has to be with the right person. And when I met him and our story started, that really shifted. And I thought, you know what, with you, I definitely want to be a mom. And I think it's been the best thing we've done now since we're parents. We've become a massive team now after bringing
all
Lyra.
of a sudden.
We've always been a team.
It works really well.
Amazing how that goes.
We've always been a team, but now as parents, I'm sure you know with Tom as well. Like it just we've gotten even closer if that's possible. You know, you really become one in one with how to handle the baby. And Aljaž is so involved as a father, which is again one of the reasons why I was so okay to be a mom, is that we were going to do this 50-50 and we were going to be parents to her equally, and it's amazing.
I can remember even when Tom did Strictly, he was very much like, Aljaž, definitely he wants to be a dad.
Yeah.
He can see that kind of...
Pretty sure I told everyone that I've ever met at some point.
Really?
Yeah, I always have, and I've always loved kids. Like, I feel like I've never really grown up myself, to be really honest. I feel like because of dancing and starting so young and rehearsing and training as much as I did, I never really was a kid in like a proper meaning of the word. And so as soon as I see anyone that it's a toddler, I always go on my knees and like, hello. So I always knew that I want to be a dad, and I couldn't wait for it. But like you said, like, you know, what we do is so physical, and essentially for me it doesn't really change that much. I can still go back and I can do it.
The thing is that you know what you're asking of Janette.
Exactly.
To kind of...
So obviously at some point we both went, okay, we want kids, but then the final call and the final decision was always going to be with Janette, because she was going to be the one that there was going to be a massive, you know, sacrifice in a way in terms of dancing career, you know, at least for a year, if not more. And, you know, I feel like everything in our careers, even for that moment with It Takes Two happening, you know, that's a little bit different because it's not as physical. And I think that was the first moment that we both actually went, wait a minute, I think we can actually do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk falling pregnant then.
Yeah.
Like, from the moment of you kind of going, right, this is it, we're in.
Yeah.
Like, was there excitement? Was there nerves? How did you feel kind of going into that?
Well, we because we have been trying to not fall pregnant for so long. I think there's this massive misconception, which I tell my friends now that don't have kids, that are wanting to maybe start trying for a baby. We didn't fall pregnant right away, you know? And I think in our heads we thought, oh, as soon as we do it the first time without any kind of protection, it's going to pop on in and we're going to be good to go. And it wasn't the case. For 2 years, we were not really taking care of ourselves and just living our best life, as we said. And it wasn't happening. So I was about to turn 40, and I said to Aljaž, I'm like, look, maybe it's a good idea to start looking into IVF and to see if it's a possibility, that if that's a route that we need to take. And we did all the tests, and nothing came back wrong. I was perfectly fine. Aljaž was perfectly fine. So there was no reason why we couldn't have fallen pregnant. So we thought, okay, well, it just is what it is. That's not working. Maybe we were dancing too much. We had a very busy year that year, doing shows and stuff. And maybe the stress on the body wasn't working. So IVF was a route. And then we started you have to take the hormone pills first. And then I had to wait for my next period to come to then start the injections, which was already super scary because we were about to go into our Christmas tour and I had It Takes Two. And then, so emotionally, it's very hard on a couple, and we have...
Well, and I imagine you would have had a lot of people at that time going... Do you want to have kids? Are you having kids?
Every single interview, not even interview, like when people see you that know that you're on Strictly or whatever, pretty much every single person asks that question. And up until that point, I never really thought about me asking someone, although I never have, but what is it going to make them feel?
You don't think it's an intrusive question. You just think it's a question.
Exactly. But you don't know if people can't have kids or if they're trying and they can't have kids. And it can be very triggering. It can make you really sad.
We were in that position a little bit because for 2 years it just wasn't happening. So when everybody was like, so when are you having kids? You're like... we'll see, But then we were waiting for me to get my period. And it never came, and it never came, and it never came. Aljaž goes, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was like, I'm not. It's the hormones. I was blaming everything I was feeling because I was moody.
which is so not like Janette. So,
That's definitely not sarcasm.
No, that is fact. But, I was really moody and I was feeling like if I had my period, but I wasn't getting my period. And I was just like, what is wrong?
Well, and then getting quite frustrated, I imagine, because you just want to start the next part of this
And I remember being on stage doing our Christmas show and doing the jive. And I was literally exhausted to a level that I'm like, I normally smash the jive. I fly through this. What is wrong with me? So anyways, on a day off from the show, I thought I'll just take a test and just see what happens. It's going to be a no, but at least it'll shut him up. And he'll know it's the pills, because I was blaming everything on the hormone pills I was taking. And it came back that I was pregnant.
Were you together when you did the test?
No, I was in the toilet.
I wasn't even, that's part of the story about this whole experience. It's so sad for me because I wasn't even the first person to find out.
No, wait, let me explain.
How bad is that?
No. So a good friend of ours, Nikki Lack,
Yeah.
Dr. Nikki Lack, she's an amazing obstetrician. She's a good friend of ours. And she said for years, whenever you're ready to have a baby, make sure you come to me.
Right.
So when we started the whole IVF thing, she was our go-to, and she was literally hand guiding us through everything and explaining everything. So when I saw the test come back positive, I was on my own in the bathroom. I started crying. I don't know why. I started thanking upstairs, whatever you believe in or don't. I don't know. And then I thought, what if it's not true? Because immediately, for so long, I was trying. And the IVF was around the corner. And I think as a kind of protective mode, I went, what if I'm not pregnant? And this is like a false positive. So I called Nikki before I said anything. And I was like, Nikki, in the
Were
toilet.
you outside the toilet?
Yes, in the living room.
I was next door.
And I'm whispering in the toilet, going, Nikki, I think I'm pregnant. She goes, what do you mean you think you're pregnant? So I just took a pregnancy test and it's come back positive. And she goes, okay, so most likely you're pregnant. And she goes, congratulations. What did Aljaž say? And I was like, I've not told him. Well, maybe go outside and tell your husband you're pregnant and then give me a call back.
Fuming. Still fuming.
But yeah, and then obviously I did tell him, and it was and
I
he
mean,
had
what was that like? Because obviously you weren't expecting this at all.
I mean, I think like it only happened a few times in my life that something happens to you and everything just goes pause. It's like nothing else happens. I think even if I look down at my clock or my watch, it would stop.
Yeah.
I feel like, and because we were waiting for so long for that thing to turn 2 lines or whatever it is, I feel like you kind of go numb a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously you're happy. You can't describe it with words, but I just didn't know what to think.
Almost frozen.
Yeah.
It's that fight or flight, isn't it? You're just like, you
Is
freeze.
it? Is
You're
it?
freeze.
Like, can I be? What should I do now? What's the next? And then so the next thing you do is you Google. What's the first
well,
thing
actually, you had a shot of coffee Patron.
I did. I did. Yes.
I've got it on video. I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm doing a shot because I just found out I'm going to be a dad.
Amen.
Yeah. But for some reason, it was a beautiful morning in London, which is rare that time of the year because we found out at the end of mid-November, really, end of November, we found out. And the sun was shining through the windows. I grabbed my phone and I set it up without Aljaž noticing. So I've got it all filmed when I told him.
Oh.
And I put the phone down and I made him a cup of coffee and I sat next to him and I was like, oh, I've got you a present. And it was, GHD, the hair straighteners.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, because it's the only thing that the test fit in perfectly. So Aljaž was looking at it like, I don't need a hair straightener. And I was like, I think you're going to like it. He opened it and the test was in there and we cried and hugged. And then it like, it's that, like Aljaž said, that moment of, but is this real? So it's almost like we didn't want to believe it until we actually went to the doctor and did a scan. And then when we saw that tiny little black bean pop up in the scan, that was when we were both really beside ourselves, crying and emotional because it was real. It was real.
On the other hand, a little bit disappointing because you're kind of expecting a tiny little baby looking at you, like a fully formed.
It's a crumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like it could be anything.
That's it. That's it. I was like, yeah. But I mean,
Were you still on tour then at that time? Did you have to go and dance?
Yeah.
Though, like, what did that feel like?
That was
when you
the
were out
scariest
dancing?
thing I've ever done in my life.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if I could dance with tweezers that tour, I would have, honestly. It happened to me once before, years ago. I danced with somebody that was pregnant at the time. And the gentleman who she was pregnant with was drummer right behind me on the show. So he was looking at me like a hawk the whole time.
Don't you
dare.
And now all of a sudden you
It was
completely
me.
realised.
I was the drummer.
Yeah.
And I was so scared, petrified. And obviously, when you go on those beautiful stages, I think we did Drury Lane, and obviously there's full auditorium. You want to do your absolute best, but you can't.
Mark it, Janette.
Mark it. Don't you dare turn.
But there's a really beautiful story that I love to share about that tour and that moment. There was one number in the show that it was just Aljaž and I on stage. No other dancers, no other singers, nobody. It's an instrumental piece of music from Edward Scissorhands. And we just danced to it, just the two of us, just spotlit. It's a very romantic part of the show. And right night before, right after we found out we were pregnant, we come in from opposite ends of the stage, and Aljaž is on the other side, and we always kind of sign to each other, "I love you," in sign language from across the stage. So he did his usual thing. I did it back. And then he whispers with his mouth, he goes, "It's just the three of us." Because nobody else in the world knew except Aljaž and I that we were having a baby. And I was like, "I'm hormonal. I would do that right now." So I came on stage and I was crying. People in the audience was like, "What is wrong with Janette?" Because I was dancing with like tears running down my eyes. And so DSI, which is the company that always loans me dresses for stuff, they actually gave me the dress as a gift when they found out that story, because that dress now and that song and that dance just has a whole different meaning now whenever we do perform it, because it was just the three of us. Nobody else in the world knew. This was our own little like perfect little secret, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Were you able to sort of contain it a little bit whilst being on tour?
Did
you want to?
I mean, do you mean from telling people?
No, from
or
telling
dancing?
people. Yeah.
Oh, we had to. We had to, because of two things. One, the fear. What if something goes wrong, and then the explanation of something have gone wrong, and it almost makes it harder to deal with, you know. And then because we were so close to Christmas, Aljaž and I thought, oh, what a beautiful Christmas gift to tell our families on Christmas Day. So we did. We woke up on Christmas morning. We do 1 year Slovenia, 1 year Miami. We alternate. And that year we were in Miami, which kind of worked out perfectly because Aljaž's mother is a grandmother to two girls already, Zala and Tisa. But my mom is not a grandma at all yet. So I was able to give her, my father, my brother, my sister, and the family the news on Christmas Day. But it was special.
Was it emotional?
Yeah, I mean, my mom dropped to the floor. I mean, my mom is the Cuban drama queen, you know? She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be una abuela." She was crying. My brother was like, and sister Leslie. I mean, it was quite a thing. But before that, we FaceTimed. Because obviously there's a time difference from Slovenia and Miami. So we FaceTimed Slovenia before.
Whispering to them.
Yeah. And then we told them through the phone. It was
but it's
really
not just
sweet.
the sentimental beauty of it, telling your families on Christmas that you're going to be pregnant. It's not just that. It's as well a financial benefit to it.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't need to worry about the presents. So if you are thinking of having kids, tell your families on Christmas, because it's
Even if
brilliant.
you're 7 months pregnant, don't say anything.
No,
Hold off.
Don't
no.
say anything.
Save it for
Don't
Christmas.
see them for months.
Just be really put out if they say anything about your growing bump. What?
Merry Christmas!
I gave them, it was funny because I gave them the card, and I think I asked my brother's friend to film it, and my family assumed that I was going to surprise them with a trip to Disney.
It's very you.
Wonderland on that one.
They thought we were going to Disney, and my mom was giving me faces like, "I know what this is," you know what I mean? And I'm like, "No, you don't."
So thank goodness they actually acted happy at the end.
Oh, it was amazing. Oh, honestly, it was perfect. And we didn't really tell anybody else except our immediate family, parents and siblings, on Christmas Day. And then we told the rest of the family after the 3rd month clearance, you know, once we knew we were out of the more dangerous time. Then we started spreading the news to our family and like our closest friends and stuff. But yeah, it was a very special moment.
How was your pregnancy? Did it?
It was all right, thank you.
Amazing. Do we, you know,
Savory?
Janette's face said something different, Aljaž.
No, we always said that we were pregnant together, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we always said we're pregnant, so that we did this journey together as husband and wife. I hated it was beautiful. It was perfect. I didn't throw up once.
Really?
I didn't have like loads of water retention. I didn't feel, the only thing is towards the end, I got pelvic girdle pain.
Right.
But I think it's because I'm small frame and Lyra was a bigger baby. So I had the most wonderful pregnancy, like literally enjoyed being pregnant, enjoyed feeling it all, you know?
Yeah.
But Aljaž, he threw
really
up.
tough?
He was moody. So I'm like, we are pregnant together because I'm carrying the child and you have all the symptoms.
I took another test just to check if we have to at some point.
It was so bizarre. I remember because we were in Miami during Christmas and he got really, really sick one day. He was throwing up literally every hour. And at one point he was like on the 12th hour of throwing up. And I felt awful, pregnant, trying to help him. Like, and then he looked at me after he's wiped his mouth and he goes, "We really are pregnant together."
It was a beautiful moment, that.
But isn't that a thing? They say there's a name for that. Sympathetic symptoms.
Really?
That husbands can pick up like certain symptoms that pregnant wives
Happens
have.
very rarely, Giovanna. Happens very rarely.
1 in a
Apparently
million,
it's
and
super
there you
rare. This is special, me being here, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was beautiful.
I love this. How did you feel about your body changing? Because obviously, being a dancer, you're so in tune with what's going on.
I loved it. You know, I think because I waited for her for so long.
Yeah.
And it was so hit and miss. And what is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? It's not. That for me, it was more fascinating. You know, some women find it like it's a quintessential experience, but I was more just fascinated with the whole science. I'm like, what? Her eyelashes are in there right now? Or like, oh my gosh, she's got toenails now?
Yeah.
Like the way that it developed. And I had that app that goes showing you like
What size they
are. So they're a pea today. They're a tennis ball today. They're, I don't know, a puppy, whatever it is. And I just loved seeing the process, like, and kind of understanding how it's all working. And to be honest with you, blown away by the female body, period.
Yeah.
The fact that our bodies can do that and create that and make these beautiful things. I was beautifully humbled by the human experience of having a child. It was amazing.
How did it affect you two as a couple, the pregnancy?
I think we were all right, weren't we?
I think it got even better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as a husband or as a father to be, you go into this protective mode.
Yeah. Did it make you look at Janette differently?
Oh, 100%. Like, if I could have, I would have gone to a pharmacy and get a massive amount of cotton balls and just put it around her. And just like,
You were really like, I was a glass house.
Literally. Do not go near an edge. But I loved it. I mean, I felt like being a dad for me started with the start of the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time that I went, okay, I'm now responsible for something here. It's not just, waking up and smiling. There was a purpose to it.
Yeah.
And that was, I feel like, the moment where I became a dad. Not the actual birth, but the moment we fell pregnant.
Yeah.
We fell pregnant.
Yes, we were pregnant.
I keep saying it, yeah.
How did you feel heading towards the birth?
Nervous.
Were you?
Yeah, nervous because my mother told me her story of when I was born,
Right.
which was traumatic. I mean, it wasn't easy labor, and she was young again. And then with my sister, she had a C-section, and then with my brother, it was like my brother was born in 7 hours, bish bash bosh, out. He was a beautiful, but I was not. So I kept thinking, is the universe gonna say? You're going to get your own now because you didn't make it easy for your mom. So I was really, really scared. We did have an elected C-section. Because Nikki, our doctor, she just assumed, again, because of how small I am, that I will most likely need an emergency C-section anyway.
So having a bit of control over that.
Yeah, so let's just have a bit of control. And then because we put it in the diary, if I did fall into labor before, it's already there. So people, the doctors would know she wants a C-section.
Yeah.
So that was always going to be the plan. But then, I don't know, I was nervous about the pain. I was nervous about what if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I had a massive panic attack the week leading up to the birth.
Really?
At the thought of being sliced open. Like, it just freaked me out, knowing that because they cut layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And I just couldn't fathom, how am I going to survive that? How is the baby going to survive that? You go into overdrive, don't you? Thinking about all the worst possibilities or the worst outcomes. But then, like, the day she was born was the most beautiful day of my life.
What was it like leaving home, knowing that you were...
So we left home 2 weeks before.
Oh, yeah, because you had to come down to London.
Yeah, we had to move closer to the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's a funny one. Because we had a set date, which was the 28th of July 2023. Now, obviously, we were next to the hospital for 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
And 5 days before 28th is 23/7/23. And I was telling Janette, I know this is going to sound really weird right now, but if we picked 28, why couldn't we pick 23? Imagine how cool it would be for her to just write the date, 23/7. You see, you get it.
Yeah, it's good.
She didn't get it at all. And I think it was
I wasn't on board. I was like, what are you on about?
So I was asking to go for long walks on the 22nd. Let's go for let's walk to Croydon. And but she wasn't up for it. But it was incredible.
I could barely walk because of the pelvic girdle pain. Yeah, I could only walk for
and it was a big belly.
Yeah,
like
she was
for how little
a
you are.
pointy belly.
Yeah.
It was like, And low.
Right.
Really low. So I felt loads of pressure. And it was the last 2 weeks actually were probably the hardest part of the pregnancy. Yeah. Just because of my, she's...
Well, and also, I guess being down here, you're then not at home where you're kind of probably, you could do a bit of nesting or keep your mind busy.
Yeah.
You're actually just here waiting.
Exactly.
And I know you saw loads of friends and stuff, but still.
Well, yeah.
You're
And
waiting.
I was just sat there waiting. And then because we were there for an emergency, if she came before, every day was like, could it be today? Could it be today? Could it be today? And then, she didn't come until the day she was meant to. But it was honestly, I meditate a lot actually. But that morning I went the extra mile and like really sat down and lit a candle. And my mother gave me a rosary that she had while she was pregnant with Lyra. And she gave me also the rosary that my great-grandmother left behind for me as well. And I just kind of put everything together and held it all in my hands and meditated and really connected with her. And I felt like I was so zen.
Really?
I was on cloud 9. Aljaž packed everything and I was like, yeah, let's go to the hospital. I put on like a rainbow colored dress that was like, I just felt like a proper hippie going to the hospital, so relaxed, so calm, wasn't I?
It was an incredible day. I feel like it was almost like in the nicest possible way, like a show.
Yeah.
Because everything was, timed. Everything was, you kind of just turn up to it all. That's why I feel like the planned C-section, that's what it's called, yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like on that side is really good because you know what to expect and when to expect it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it happens before, it does. But I think that's why...
I wonder if there was also a feeling of elation because, well, not only did you know you were going to meet your daughter, but having had a tough 2 weeks leading up to it, kind of going, and this is the day.
This is the day, yeah. And in the hospital, I mean, I brought those like, the battery lit tiny candles.
Yeah.
So the tea lights.
Yeah.
I got tea lights all over my room. I had like a room spray. I had a playlist ready for her from when she was
like
born.
A spa. It looked more like a spa than an actual... Yeah.
And then obviously they put so much on you so you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
I was like, woo, she's coming. And she was born to Little Bitty Pretty One.
Oh.
That was the song. Like on the day, for some reason, we were like, whatever song she's born to from the playlist will forever be her song.
Yeah.
We'll let her decide. But on the day in the room when I had the gown on and we were just about to head down, Aljaž and I started dancing and I was like holding my belly dancing and then we kept going and then we were like, should we just say it's that song? And then on the moment that she was born, Nikki, our doctor, was like, okay, she's coming in a minute, and we were like, okay, go play the song.
And she came out on the first lyric.
Yeah, Little Bitty Pretty One. But then the first time that they brought her over to my face after she was born, the song that came on was The First Time Ever I Saw You. And I was like, what is this? Oh my God, this is perfect. It was amazing. Honestly, the whole day was just...
And then Mickey and Minnie came out.
Yeah, and, they were there.
Elsa and Anna sang Frozen. It was brilliant. Yeah.
In a dream world, that would have happened, but I can't get it on.
And the castle lit up. It was lovely.
But what was it like meeting Lyra for the first time?
What words can you use to describe that? I don't think there's anything to describe that feeling. The first thing I thought actually was, oh my God, she's big. Like that was inside me. Because it was like a show, like Aljaž said, because they dropped the curtains, the song was on, and out she came, and she started. And when she came out, and I was like, oh my God. And then when she's big, how was that inside of me? But it was, it was beautiful to meet her. Yeah. Just to smell her, even I don't know. It's a feeling. I don't think there's any words to describe that moment. I don't know.
I think whatever word you use, it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah. No.
I feel like it's one of those, like you got to be there to know it and to feel it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's impossible to describe and to I think maybe if we ever do it again to go through it, then I can have a better think about it.
If pure bliss was ever a moment that existed in the human world, that would be it. That moment that you meet your child and you see them for the first time, I think is pure bliss.
That's amazing, because for some people it's not that. You know what I mean? So it's amazing.
For us it was.
That you had that.
Yeah.
I love that.
We did. Well, if we fall pregnant again, I'm already prepared for the worst pregnancy, the worst labor story. I'm like, it's not going to happen twice, is it?
And physically, how was your recovery? How long did it take for you to feel like, okay,
Oh, a while. I mean, especially being a dancer, I was nervous because we had our Christmas show coming up. Lyra was born at the end of July, and we were meant to start rehearsals at the end of October. So it's not a long turnaround, especially for a C-section.
Yeah.
So I was very, very physically aware of my recovery. So I was watching it and like monitoring every single step of the way. It was painful. The second week was more painful than the first week, but they say that that's normal. You know, after the first week and the hormones and everything starts dying down, you end up actually feeling more pain than before. So the second week was actually harder. And then eventually I started to be able to do more and more. But what I tried to do is move, which they recommend you do. A lot of women, I think because of fear of pain or fear of hurting yourself, you don't do anything. But I was the opposite. Aljaž was having to tell me, you need to sit now. I was trying to move and trying to get up and do things, you know, because I felt that would help the recovery and get me there a bit quicker. Also, I worked with these two incredible women. I have to name them, Kat and a lovely woman from Bum to Beyond who specialize with postpartum and just getting women physically fit and ready to get back. So they work with athletes a lot as well.
Right.
And between the two of them, I was able to kind of get back into some shape to get on stage and dance. But it was down to like just breathing exercises, getting my pelvic floor strong again. Even though I didn't give natural birth, that still gets affected with C-section. And then doing tiny little bits of exercises to just slowly get myself back in. But I enjoyed it in a weird way. I kind of enjoyed the process of, oh, okay, now every little milestone was like a massive one. You know, it was only I can do one more deep breath, but that felt great because I can do one more. But yeah, I think that I was very aware. But I think being a dancer, I would have been. Because I'm so physically aware anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Aljaž, you have taken, I mean, you both said this, the lion's share, I would say, of the parental responsibilities. How has that been after, you know, has it lived up to what you thought fatherhood would be?
And more. And more. Like, I mean, obviously, as of the day we arrived at the hospital before Lyra was born, I was asking all the midwives every single question possible. Because you hear so much advice.
Taking it really seriously, everything.
Oh, I did. But like, I feel like you hear so much advice from so many different people. But I was thinking, do you know what? The people that are going to know best is the midwives in the hospital because they do it every single day and they know exactly what they're talking about. And I took that on board. I wrote some of it down. And then I feel like if you do it with love, if you have time, first of all, and if you don't mind anything and everything that comes your way, but especially if you do it because of your heart, because you want to do it, nothing's hard. I feel like getting up at night, although Janette does more of that now lately, but none of it is difficult. I feel like if you wanted to have kids and if you still want kids after you have them, you know, it's the best thing ever. I've been standing in places that I didn't want to be in and, you know, going places that I didn't necessarily want to go to. Being at home at 3 a.m., walking around the bed with a little one in my hands, I want to do that. Yeah. And it's the easiest thing I've ever done. I feel like sometimes it gets hard, but then the beauty of it all, the little smile that you get back, you know, when you're changing a nappy, it's worth it all. You know, it's worth every single sleepless night. It's worth every single cry. We just on the way down, she was crying the whole way on a train. Oh, no. And I was sweating because, not because of me and her crying, but like everyone else around is probably thinking, what are you guys doing? But, you know, it's fine. What, and so what? I feel like we all do things in life we don't want to do. Looking after your kids is something I think we should do, and we all should do it with love and you know, with a smile behind it. So it's been easy. Yeah. Giovanna, it's been super easy.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, don't downplay it.
No, but it is. Like, come on a grand scheme of things, work is going to be hard. You know, pleasing people you don't want to please is going to be difficult. Looking after your kids on a grand scheme of things, it's not hard. Yeah, that's how I see it.
But both like, yes.
Yeah, but I firmly believe that.
Well, I have always loved that thing when you are having a hard moment of someone coming over and going, you're doing a great job. I think that's a really a beautiful gift you can give someone. I think when it is your child crying, like Lyra was doing in the car, something happens to your body, I think, when it is your child. Yeah. And, you know, it's, I think that's part of motherhood that we, you know, or parenthood that maybe isn't talked about a lot, like that feeling of
Well, it's weird because Aljaž and I sleep obviously together in bed. And Lyra, when she was
great.
first, we haven't gone to separate rooms yet.
There's still time.
Yeah.
After this podcast.
Probably.
When she was little and sleeping in the room with us,
Oh.
Aljaž and I were like, okay, we'll try and take turns. Like you do one and then I do one. We'll do it. We kind of like tag team it, so that we both can get some sleep. But Aljaž sleeps like a log. Like he was
Beautifully
sleeping.
though.
And beautiful log.
Like a princess kind of log.
But yeah, for Sleeping Beauty, we'd say.
Thank you.
First, Disney mentioned. But he was sleeping straight through. Lyra would go, I was up.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Like as a woman, as the one that carried it, maybe I don't know, but there's something in the amygdala. I read up about it that the amygdala almost doubles in size because it's the fight or flight mode that kicks in us as parents, as mothers specifically. It doubles. So I hear her even if she's in another room sometimes, just making the tiniest little noise.
Yeah.
And you just go, like you said, you just get this awareness of like, where is she? Where'd she go? And it's funny because I feel like I can see already what I'm going to be like as a mother. I am going to take no BS from anybody when it comes to my daughter. We've been watching some TV episodes and shows and stuff, and if something happens to where the kids are, if that was me to Lyra,
Scary.
I will rip that person's head. You just get this insane protective, I call it lioness mode.
Yeah.
That you're just your Bubba is yours, and if anybody does anything to hurt it, or if she's feeling anything or something's wrong, you just go you just go for it.
So I'm on the side trying to protect both of them because by the looks of it, Janette goes nuts.
I don't think she needs it.
No.
Oh my God! But it's a beautiful thing. But like realizing that that's there is quite scary, I guess, because I'm not that person. I'm not an aggressive person. I'm really easygoing.
But it's that like,
yeah,
it's the
primal side.
Yeah.
It's the primal instinct that kicks in. The animalistic side of us as creatures that you're like, this is my. It's like when you smell her head. When I smell her head, it is the most beautiful smell I have ever smelt in the world. And you're just like, I just want to smell her head all day, every day. And she's getting older, so that baby scent is starting to slowly drift. And I'm trying to don't wash her head too much because maybe it'll last a little bit longer. But there's that oxytocin levels just like double, when you're holding it. It's incredible.
Guys, if you could write a letter on being a mum and a dad, who would it be to and what would you say?
I think, go on, you go first.
My letter would be to everyone that is contemplating on having children.
Yeah.
Not to people that don't want to have kids, because I feel like everyone's different, and I'm never gonna judge anyone that wants kids, that doesn't want kids.
Yeah.
But I would rather letter to those that are thinking about having kids. Because whatever your life is like, whatever you're going through, whatever is important in your life, I feel like when you do have children, you actually see how many things don't actually matter. How irrelevant so many things that I used to worry about actually are.
Yeah.
And how much more purpose life actually has. Different, in a completely different way. But I actually find it so much easier now because I can focus on one thing, which is Lyra and Janette, and that's it. And in a way, it's actually much more direct and much more purposeful than it was before. Because especially in what we do, you tend to worry about so many other people's opinions and likes and comments and whatever not. But now all that matters is she's right there through that glass, and that's the only thing that matters. That's what I would write to all of them that are contemplating about having kids.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say something very, very similar.
No, you did. But then you heard me, and it
no, I
sounded
promise.
so beautiful.
I was going to say similarly. I would say to all the women I would write a letter to all the women that are very career driven and love their job and are nervous about giving up their job or their life as career women to become mothers. I would say to them, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. And I think if you really want to be a mom and the only thing that's holding you back is your love for your job, don't let that be the reason to stop you anymore. Because I think we need to be okay with doing both and having you do need support. You can't do it by yourself. I'm not like waving a flag saying that I'm a superwoman. I can't do it without him. I can't do it without his support, and I can't do it without the support of my friends and my family. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. Yeah.
And finally, we finished the podcast with you completing 3 sentences.
I know about
one,
this.
I love that.
I've been nervous about
I'm a
this.
fan anyway. I'm a fan, so I know what's coming.
Right, I'm going to get Aljaž first.
Go on.
Go on.
Being a dad means...
Responsibility.
Being a mum means...
I'm still not ready, you see. It means everything. It means creating the future of the world that we live in. It means loving more than you've ever loved before. It means growing yourself as a human being to an existential part of yourself that you probably didn't even know existed. So for me, it's everything. It's everything.
Since having a child,
Organized.
Just right.
I've become more organized.
There we go. That's the sentence.
Sorry.
Very true.
Having a child, organised.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a language barrier.
okay, no,
but it is. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Right. Since having a child,
I'm calmer.
Are you?
Yeah, I feel like I have more patience than ever before. I'm calmer since having a child.
I'm happy when?
When she's happy.
I'm happy when?
When she's happy. Yeah, I know it's boring, but it's the same vibe.
Do you know what's amazing? Like, you've always been an amazing team. And I know that probably comes from dancing together and that trust and everything that comes with that. But it feels like, as an outsider, parenthood has made you both even more of a team.
Massively. I think
100%. Especially, like, you know, we've said it now. Moving away, having a little bubble even more like than we did before has amplified that more than ever. You create that little bond, and you need to nourish it, and you need to constantly work on it. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just stay there. And I'm so happy and pleased that we are where we are, and, you know, in careers, in lives, and I think everything happens for a reason, and everything so far has been a perfect little reason, and I'm really, really pleased with it.
Yeah. And obviously you're going to start working now on the next show together.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, Christmas show. I can't wait again to listen to Christmas music. Go, Mariah!
No, but you know what it is? Christmas, we've always loved Christmas. But now, because we fell pregnant with Lyra...
I wonder, every year that you do the show, you're going to see Lyra engage with it more and more and more.
Yeah, and like Christmas
thing.
now has a whole other meaning, because it was when we found out we were pregnant, when we told our families about Lyra. Last year was Lyra's first Christmas. This year, Lyra's going to be a 1-year-old. You know what I mean? So Christmas to us feels like the perfect and easiest way for us to celebrate what we love to do, which is dance anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're excited for it. Yeah, we're trying to
Merry
find
Christmas.
Guys, keep doing what you're doing. Keep supporting each other. Keep being an amazing team. I love you both.
We love you.
Thank you for
We
having
love
us.
you.
Oh, a pleasure.